Yo, what's going on everybody? Back in the shop. It's been a busy couple of weeks. I've had back-to-back events, and so I haven't been doing a whole lot of work on the car. But this weekend, it is Easter. I have Monday off of work, and so I'm going to try and get as much stuff done as possible, and also some good content for you guys. Now, if you didn't see the last video, you'll know that I have skirts for the car, finally, but they are not the skirts that I bought in Japan. If you watch the previous video, you'll know the story with that. But anyways, I have picked up some skirts in the US, and I'm planning to do a full one-off custom side skirt for my car. And reason being is I've been literally waiting around searching for months and months and months to try and find aim-gain skirts so I can trade for the Vleen skirts, blah, blah, blah. You guys know the whole spiel story with that. And I'm just running out of time. I need to get this car somewhat ready for paint relatively soon if I can. And I'm done just like wasting time waiting for the right shit to pop up. Taking shit into my own hands, spending a bunch more money and a bunch more time. Gonna make some one-off skirts. Hopefully it looks sick, and probably later down the line when some aim gains pop up, I'll get them and trade and blah, blah, blah. But anyways, I'm probably gonna start doing some bodywork on the rear end of the car today. But before we do that, we need to look at these skirts. I can talk you through them and kind of explain what I'm doing with them. Also, Hunter's over here, ready to get into some fucking sanding today.
Yes, sir.
Here's the skirts. So, these are a little bit different than a lot of skirts that come for the UCF20. They have these little pieces that kind of extend up into the side cladding. Which is what I've been looking for, but these don't go all the way up. And so I'll get into what I'm gonna do with it in a minute, but they are Y Sports skirts for the UCF20. I have tried looking up pictures of them. I can't find a single thing on the internet, and the stamps on them don't show a company name. I've just been told they're Y Sport, but they do show a serial number, production date, inspection signature, blah, blah, blah. They fit really well. So yeah, don't really know a whole lot about them. They're gonna get cut up and turned into a one-piece skirt. Guide it in on the end. Let go. It's good enough to chill for now. I can give you a rough kind of idea as what I'm gonna do with them. I'm pretty excited about it, honestly. I think it'll be a fun process, and they should look extremely unique because obviously they'll be one-offs when they're done. But yeah. So as you can see, this is very like roughly mocked up. They're just hanging there. Like the angle that that's at, where it's kind of like leaning inwards, is not gonna be like that. But basically, because these come up a little way there, what I'm gonna do is fiberglass them into this cladding piece right here and make them into a one-piece skirt. Same thing on the back end right there. And the reason for doing this is because these cars, like most of the skirts, are just like this lower piece right here. And for me, I've always hated the body lines right here. Like, my Vleen front bumper is one smooth, consistent line straight down. This side, you have this line, cladding piece, which bulges out a little bit, and then you have the skirt, which also bulges out. And also, these pieces from stock kind of start to flow under the car. And it just looks really funky, and that's like the one thing I've been really nitpicky about. Even the Vleen skirts that match the Vleen kit do it, and I don't like it. So what I want to do is actually mount this so that it sits more like so. Obviously sticks out a little bit further, and it keeps this natural body line flowing from here into here, and these two pieces are going to be basically molded together as one piece. I think that should fix that issue that's really bothered me, and it'll also obviously be a very unique piece after that. The only things that I'm worried about is just that this isn't fiberglass, this is. I just question how strong they'll be, and I don't want them to flex or, you know, break or anything, but it's trial and error. So I don't know 100% what the process is going to be. I'm imagining I'm going to cut that cladding piece and kind of line everything up, and then fiberglass on the back. I may do some like metal pieces with some panel bond or something, just something to give it some more like structural rigidity. But I'm not going to start on that until I get my bumpers back, because the one thing that I want to make sure of is that when I put the front bumper on, the skirts sit at the exact same level as the front bumper. The last thing I want to do is do all of this work, get my kit back, and realize that the skirts sit higher or lower. So yeah, I'm going to wait until that, and then we can measure everything, get it all perfect, and start that process. Kind of excited about it. I think it's going to be like something really like special and unique for this car. And it also fixes that little body line thing that bothers the ever-living shit out of me. All right, I can show you guys kind of what I've started doing in the rear and kind of explain how I'm going to go about getting it the way that I want it to. But I started doing a little bit of Bondo work inside of the door jamb in the rear. So as you can see, it still looks like pretty ugly. There's some nasty gaps and blah, 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 but whoops, totally forgot the skirts were just hanging there, my bad. Okay, so still looks horrible in here, but I've only put one layer on it and sanded it for a little bit, but basically I'm just gonna get like this somewhat consistently smooth. It's not like, I don't really need to do anything crazy in here. I just need to get these like corners good. And then the main thing that I want to work on is this right here. If I close the door again, you can see how the gap is like really inconsistent. Like this gap is this size, this is obviously a completely different size, and then this here looks huge, but that's actually huge from factory, because this edge here is a factory body line, and that gap is just way too big. So what I'm gonna do is build up a little bit in there and try and get that gap there closer to how this gap is here. And then I need to shave this part of the door back a little bit and come into this part of the flare, just so that this arch is more consistent. And then just build a little bit more on this side and use some tape to kind of get like an actual body line on the edge that I can work from. But yeah, that's probably going to be today's process. All right, first layer down, pulled the tape up, sanded it a little bit. As you can see, I have this nice little edge right here. It isn't much, but that's kind of all I need. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay the tape on this side now and build it up on here. Because basically what I'm trying to do is get this on this edge a little bit higher so that it lines up on the door just a little bit better, because right now the flare piece on the door just sits above the flare and it doesn't look very natural. So yeah, that's the intention with that. And then I still need to fill more of this space in back here, but it's a good start. And then up in the front, I did the same thing with the tape right here, so that I can get basically this body line as harsh as possible to start off with. And now I have a little bit of an edge here, and what I'm going to do is put the tape on the back side of it, so it'll be on this side, and then just build up on there. And hopefully I will have a nice hard line to work with, and we'll basically just sand it soft until it matches here and here. Alright, this didn't go how I wanted it to, because I was trying to sand this back kind of flat, and then I ended up sanding the body line out by accident. So I'm going to come back to that once I kind of figure out a better method to get that defined. But the rear, I have this like somewhat line right here, and it's built up a little better to where it needs to be, but I want it to come up higher. So what I'm going to do this time is put tape on the door, and this gap still needs to be filled in better, so I'm going to get some in there, and then obviously get a little bit more on the inside so that it just kind of levels this out, and then I can have this like nice edge here, which hopefully will like kind of meet up to where this piece of the flare is on the door, so it has like more of a natural line, I guess. Okay, so next layer didn't really go to plan, but kind of did at the same time. When I pulled the tape off of the door, it like pulled some of the Bondo out, so there is some chunks missing out of it. I'm also gonna have to go back in and add those, and also there is like 0 door gap now, which obviously has to be sanded back out, but I've sanded it down as good as I can. Despite the chunks, it's kind of sweet. as you can see right here, door closed. There's like zero gap whatsoever, but yeah, like you can see like the chunks missing out of it. But yeah, brought this further out, and now basically what I'm gonna do is I'll probably add another layer just to fill these gaps in right here. And then we'll just go through, block sand everything with this so that we can get it like smooth and level. And then I will go through and with the door open, sand this like top part flat and like lower down so that it can have like a even gap all the way through. But I'm very happy with that right now. Like obviously that looks very satisfying, but it needs the door gap. Okay, so I have this a lot closer than I did before. It's got a pretty well-defined line in here. It's not 100% perfect yet, and there's still these kind of gaps where there's these cracks right here, but the inside of that looks decently clean. Still needs a few little spots here and there, but if I close this, it actually looks really good. I'm not going to be able to do a whole lot about like having this gap be as big as this, because obviously it's never going to look like this gap is already the size that it needs to be. It's just that I can't like, this is obviously it looks like that because it's so recessed back in there, and it's the same thing here, that it's going to look different right there. And this is probably about as good as I'm going to get it, but the point is that from here everything kind of flows really smoothly, and once I mold this, which is what I'm going to do next, mold this up, it should flow really smoothly and just have this kind of line in it. So I'm pretty stoked on the progress. This kind of bottom corner right here looks real decent. I actually left this a little bit higher because I'm going to put tape on the I'm going to put tape on the door and actually blend a little bit up into that so that it's smoother and it doesn't just like end the blending right here where the flare ends. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that so far. The only little thing that is bothering me slightly is that it almost looks like it goes like this in and then curves again right there, which it may just be, you know, something that I notice, and I know that I could probably like just radius this out slightly further, but I don't want to keep doing too much more and end up taking away too much material. So I'm going to probably keep it pretty much where it's at. I'm decently happy with it, and I'll give you a angle from this side. As you can see, the sun's on it, so it's actually lighting it up pretty nicely, but if it'll focus where I want it to, of course not. Fuck me. It's got manual focus. So as you can see, it's got that kind of like defined line right there, which flows like all the way down and kind of allows it to be a little bit smoother. So yeah. Okay, I got the first layer of Bondo down on the flare piece that's on the door, and when I got Taco Bell and came back while it dried, and now I'm about to start sanding, but I figured I would show you what it looks like before I sand it, because then you can get a good idea as to how like shitty it looks when you first apply it, versus like sanded it down a little bit. This will need a couple of layers, I'm sure, but so that's how it looks right now. I'm able to get it to look somewhat smooth just by applying like downwards and upwards, and then just like with a lot of pressure with the squeegee kind of just pushing through this. I did tape off the door handle because I really didn't feel like picking all of that shit out. I would recommend doing that. So yeah, we're gonna get to sanding this, and I also applied a little bit more on the inside of this as well as on the inside of there. So yeah, we're gonna get everything a little bit cleaner, and then we'll check back in. Okay, number one recommendation for that, remove the fucking door handle, because regardless of the tape, Bondo's still got in that little fucking crease and it's like impossible to get out. So at some point I'm gonna have to take that door handle out and sand around it. So yeah, if you're doing Bondo near the door handle, remove the door handle for sure. But this is looking pretty good. I mean, as good as it's gonna get for this layer. It still obviously needs another layer or two. I'm happy with like the front side of this flare. It's lining up like really, really nice. Yeah, I'm like crazy stoked. It's not even close to being as smooth as it's going to be. Obviously it's going to match the front, but as far as like just the piece that's on the door looking extremely natural and just kind of blending into the flare, I really couldn't be happier with that. Like that to me looks fucking amazing. The gap it's not bad. So like I was saying before, like the recess back in there, it's never gonna look like that because the flare is there, but it's decently consistent for what it is. You can tell that it's there. It's a little like wavy in that spot, so I definitely like want to do something about that. But you know, general shape, I'm beyond stoked. Like from every angle, that looks exactly how I needed that to look. And I apologize that the camera kind of doesn't focus specifically on everything so you can see it. But yeah, that's pretty awesome. So one of the things that I'm going to address with this is that obviously the little piece that is on the door, that's able to get blended and that's going to be smooth. But here, where the flare kind of ends and there's a gap between the door, I still want this to be able to blend somewhat and still be really smooth. So what I'm going to do is the next layer that I do on here, I'm going to put tape on here so I can actually build up a little bit of an edge on here so it comes out a little bit, and we'll do the same thing on this. We'll build this out just so that instead of it having this kind of like weird transition where it's like duh, duh, it actually like just flows smoothly with the gap in the door. That's pretty much it for today's video. I am going to be back over here tomorrow, literally doing the same thing, just working on this a little bit more. We're probably gonna get onto the main part of molding the rear flare. So I'm very excited about that, and hopefully if we get somewhere decent with it tomorrow, we'll actually be able to see the front and rear together in their like rough shape. And I'm very, very excited about that thought. But yeah, for somebody that literally attempted to do body work like 3 weeks ago, I mean, I guess it's technically like a month now, but I haven't really had the chance to be over here that much. But for somebody that literally just fucking picked up doing this and is just figuring it out, this is going very well. And like I've said in the other videos, this is extremely rewarding. Like I'm enjoying this a lot, just, you know, getting it on there and sanding it and checking it. Like I'm very, very detail oriented. And so if you are like that too, which I know most photographers, video people, video editors are very detail oriented, this is very, very rewarding. Yeah, I'm stoked to get into the rest of this. I'm very happy with the progress made today, and I'm fucking excited, guys, and I hope that you guys are too. I hope you guys are excited about the skirts, which actually, before I end off the video, I'm going to show you each of the trim pieces kind of mocked up in the skirts so you can kind of see how it's going to blend. Not sure if I showed this in a video too, but this is the back trim piece, which I actually cut a little pie cut into and pushed it in. This is going to get panel bonded and stuff, and that's just for how I basically radiused the rear arch wider. I'll have to do the same thing on the rear bumper when I get it back, but yeah, that's how I addressed that. But yeah. Okay, so I've tried to mock this up as well as I can, just chilling there. But essentially, you will take these side pieces and they'll get chopped, fiberglassed on the back so that they can, you know, become one piece, and then bodyworked we'll probably do with kitty hair on the front and then bond over the top. And just basically just made into one whole piece. And obviously it's not going to have this like step like it does here where it's like boom, step into this. Everything's going to be smooth and all one piece, and I am very excited about the idea of that. So yeah, definitely stay tuned for that. Hopefully I can get the kit back soon and we can start on that. You know what's crazy is that when I started this process basically a year ago now, when I got the flares and the wheels and decided that like this was the direction I was going to go with this car, I bit off way more than I could chew. I had no idea that it was going to be this, you know, crazy intensive, but I'm not mad about any of it. I'm not like frustrated that it's taking me this long, or it's, you know, been way more expensive than I wanted it to be. Like, I'm very much enjoying this process, and I'm very, very proud of just being involved with every aspect of it. Initially, my plan was that I was going to just get everything kind of mocked up where it needed to be, and then just drop the car off somewhere and have somebody do all of the welding, all of the bodywork, and then it would go off for paint. And it's like, yeah, I could have done that. It probably would have taken a long time too, but I would have had no content for you guys. I wouldn't have learned all of these new skills. I wouldn't have had all of these like great memories with this car that I now have. Like when this thing is done, I can look at it and say like, I was involved in every single piece of that car. Besides paint, every piece of this car I've been involved with. And I don't know, I'm very, very proud of that. Dude, when I started this, I didn't know how to work on cars at all. I still don't. But I'm fucking stoked, and I really hope that it actually turns out the way that I want it to be. It's just, if you guys are passionate about anything in life, not necessarily just your car or your build or whatever, like if you're passionate about anything and you actually put in the work to do the things that you want to do, it's so fucking worth it. So worth it. I guess if I would have to leave like a message for anybody, like one of the big things that I want to do is help inspire people like in the younger generation. I feel like a lot of kids these days just, they want to put in minimal effort, you know, wheels and fucking suspension and a wrap or whatever to get as much attention as possible, as quickly as possible. And I think that a build that has tons of time and effort and passion into it will really shine above anything that was just thrown together quickly. And that's not why I do this. I'm not doing it because I want to be better than anybody else. I'm doing it because like this is what I wanted to do, and I fucking love this car. Yeah, I really hope that somebody can take something away from me doing all this and honestly just feel inspired to do it themselves. Like, yes, you could easily drop something off somewhere and have, you know, them do the work. Anybody with enough money can do that. But if you have a vision and, you know, you're extremely passionate about it, I think you got to be the person who's like doing all of it to get the exact thing that you want. Like, it's really hard if you have a vision in your head to get that across to somebody else. Like if you drop a car off at a shop and you tell them like everything that you want done. If I tried to drop this off somewhere and told them like, hey, I want it to look like this, blah, blah, blah. I don't have any like reference images to show them, or like all I have is what's in my head, and it's very, very difficult to get that across. And so me doing all of this myself, I'm doing it exactly the way that I wanted to. And there was no like miscommunication with anybody because, well, it's just me. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to be back over here tomorrow. Like I said, it's Easter weekend and I'm off on Monday too. So yeah, another 2 days after this of me just cracking on with some shit on this car. Very excited about it. Hopefully you guys are too. It means more content. And yeah, let's just try and get this thing fucking ready for paint as soon as possible. I still don't know when my wheels are coming in, but I'm glad I'm able to fill the time with this bodywork stuff. So anyways, guys, thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.